Have you been looking at 2025's JRPGs and thinking to yourself, man, there are a lot of remasters and remakes this year. Where's all the new stuff? Well, recently I released my JRPGs for 2025 list video. Check it out after this one if you haven't already. And the one that really jumped out at me as I was putting that video together was Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. When they announced it, I thought, okay, that looks cool. It's like a little fun pirate spin-off game, but they didn't really show much about it. They didn't talk much about it. But recently, Sega and RGG put out a direct for the game, and let me tell you, this looks absolutely insane and could end up being one of the best games of the year. Now here you'll be playing as Goro Majima, and he's been shipwrecked on a remote island. He's lost his memories and he decides to put together a pirate crew and sail the Pacific Ocean for treasure. I mean, what else are you supposed to do when you lose your memories? And as he's washed up on this remote island, he's rescued by a little boy named Noah and a small tiger. What a setup. Now, as far as the combat goes, for this one, they're going back to the action beat 'em up style of the older games, and you have two styles that you can swap between quickly on the fly. And the first one is Mad Dog, and this is like a brawler style with your fists. Looks like there's tons of crazy juggling, air combos. It looks much more speedy with like dodging and blocking involved. And for his like sort of finisher build up super mode attack, he can summon shadows that are body doubles of himself, and you can attack with like 5 characters at once. It looks absolutely crazy, tons of big damage. And then for the other mode, it's called Sea Dog, and this is like the pirate mode where he's wearing all his pirate attire. You can use dual swords, you can fight with them, you can throw them around like boomerangs, which is crazy. You have this chain hook that you can like throw at enemies and pull yourself towards them, which looks super cool. I love games that have unique movement abilities like that. You also have a pistol that you can shoot with, and then for his like super attack, you can summon animals while you're playing instruments, and they're not just like little tiny cute animals. They're like giant sharks and hordes of jellyfish and monkeys and giant parrots. It looks absolutely ridiculous. It's so silly and fun. Not to mention you can use objects in the environment to fight with, like benches and surfboards and whatever you can pick up. And it is an RPG, so you can upgrade Majima, you can equip him with different rings that give him boosts, and probably a whole lot more. I gotta say, the combat in this game just looks like an absolute blast. There's so much room for fun combos because not only can you air juggle and like hover in the air, but you can also swap between the modes quickly, so you can like maybe uppercut a guy into the air, swap modes, shoot him with your guns, swap again. I don't know. It just looks like there's tons of room for experimentation, and it borderline looks like a Warriors/Musou game, which is a positive for me. I love those games. I love just destroying waves of enemies. It's super fun. And while the turn-based combat in the newer Like a Dragon games is good, I prefer the action combat style in Yakuza. Just the way you're walking through the open world and you can just run up to a group of enemies and start fighting them. I just prefer that. And honestly, I could just see myself losing hours and hours in this game just fighting guys because it looks fun. Now, the part that I'm most excited for in this game is the ship combat. I mean, personally, I love pirates. It's one of my favorite eras and settings for fiction. I actually used to live in Charleston, South Carolina, which is like one of the biggest like pirate hubs in America. It has a lot of pirate history. There's lots of museums there, so I was like living in it. And I also played AC Black Flag and Ys 10 and really enjoyed those games. Now, I haven't played Skull and Bones because, well, I heard it's not great. So this game being a pirate themed game just speaks to me. Now, your ship called the Goromaru is like super customizable, and not just with the sails and maybe a masthead that you can change around. Oh no, you can like paint it like pink and purple if you want and have flowers on your sails. Like the little bit of customization they showed looks ridiculous. Like there is a ton of options to upgrade your ship. And on top of that, you're going to need a crew, and there's over 100 recruitable shipmates that you can recruit onto your boat. And they're wild characters, like just normal ones that you would find around in the world, but then like mascots wearing costumes, so you can have a costume guy manning the cannon. I can picture that looking ridiculous and being just silly fun. Not to mention you can deepen bonds with them by doing singing and drinking games and fighting and just getting into combat and winning. So overall, that whole part of the game looks fun. And as far as the combat goes, it looks like a combination of Ys 10 and AC Black Flag. Like you have the traditional weapons like cannons and stuff like that, but then Ys 10 brought like basically magic and stuff like that. And you can also use machine guns. Like you can pull out and just have Majima shoot with a gun at other enemies. It looks ridiculous. And it seems very arcadey. It seems more focused on pure fun than authenticity, which I think is for the better. I think it's just going to make the game more fun. And you know, you'll be getting into pirate ship fights where you can like board the other ship and do crew versus crew battles. That was my favorite part of AC Black Flag. And in Ys 10, it was a little bit weak, so I'm glad that it's here and it looks really, really great. And also they tease some like mysterious sea creatures, maybe a kraken, maybe a giant shark. So I'm really curious to get into the game and see what that's all about. Now, if you're enjoying this video and have enjoyed my other videos in the past and aren't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. I put out weekly JRPG content, everything from lists, reviews, reactions, and anything else that you guys might be interested in. And I'm actually going to be turning 40 this year on December 2nd, and I'm trying to hit 100,000 subscribers by that day. So I would love for you to join me on that journey. Now back to the game. So you have a home base called Rich Island, which is where you start out, but you can also come back here and restock on supplies, feed animals, change outfits. So it's always fun to have a little home base to go back to. They didn't show much in the direct, but I imagine there's probably going to be a lot more that you can do here. But then let's talk about Mad Atlantis. Now this is like the pleasure wonderland. They always have these in Yakuza games. And this is like a former ship graveyard that pirate lords have turned into this like crazy area for fun. And what's interesting is one of the pirate lords is played by AEW wrestler Samoa Joe, so that's kind of a fun little cameo. And here, of course, there's probably going to be some ridiculous side quests that you can pick up, but there's also tons of mini games, everything from poker, batting cages, and a pirate ship Coliseum battle mode, everything from like just your ships, but then you can fight with your crew and you can go up the ranks and get better rewards. So that looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. And also, as if all this wasn't enough, you can go island hopping, you can do ship combat. There's probably going to be a really cool main story, but then the whole breadth of what they had of Hawaii from Infinite Wealth is going to be in the game too. You can walk around in Hawaii. You can do all the mini games from food delivery, go-karts, karaoke, tons more, plus all kinds of other crazy stuff, just getting into combat. I cannot wait to explore Hawaii. I didn't get to Infinite Wealth. I really, really wanted to. Tropical, like beachside, oceanside settings are my favorite in games. So to have that comboed with it being a pirate game, oh my God, I can just see myself losing dozens and dozens of hours to this game. And speaking of that, that's like one of the reasons why I'm most excited. It just looks like a ridiculous amount of fun and a ridiculous amount of content. Like I'm looking at all the stuff that you can do in this game and I'm thinking to myself, like, you can easily sink 100+ hours into this one just between the on foot combat, the ship gameplay, all the different mini games. Like, man, I can see this draining a ton of hours. And it also seems like a really fun game to try and 100% or get the platinum in. I love doing that with games if I really enjoy them. There's something really satisfying about like doing everything and checking stuff off a list, and everything from the Coliseum battles, that delivery mode thing, all the different mini games, fighting, recruiting crew members, upgrading everything. I just feel like this is going to be a ton of fun to try to 100%. And the other thing is we just don't get great pirate games. Like there aren't very many of them. Like the only two that I can really think of are Assassin's Creed Black Flag and Ys 10. Skull and Bones wasn't great. And maybe there's some like more PC-based simulation games that are pirate-based that could be cool, but I haven't played them. There's maybe the Secret of Monkey Island if you want to consider that a pirate game, but really there's not a ton. So for us to get a really great one that seems focused on fun, like there's so many games these days that try to be like realistic and try to be one-to-one of like, what would it be like to actually be this? Whereas here, RGG's like, no, we're going to make this arcadey and silly and ridiculous and focus on fun. And that's what I love about their games. And this one in particular seems over the top like all their other ones haven't been. So this is just one of my most anticipated JRPGs coming out in 2025. What do you guys think of this game? Are you excited for it? Did you not even know about it? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And like I said, this is just one JRPG coming out in 2025. If you want to see all the other exciting ones that you can play this year, be sure to watch this video next.